Hello again. So, I am kind of deliberately making sure not to like make myself up and kind of tidy the space around me before making videos because I just want it to really be as real as possible. And I just wanted to use this time to to talk about the timeline of events that have happened with regards to this illness, basically. So it goes back to the very beginning of December. I got COVID. As far as I remember, it was just standard feeling crappy from COVID. It wasn't a particularly horrific bout. It was like, I mean, it was horrible, but it was like as horrible as a horrible cold. I just remember that. And then not very long after that, in January, I seem to remember getting another cold where I felt very run down and very rubbish. And it kind of coincided with quite a lot of stress. I was definitely getting very, very, very burnt out. And then I think it was December that I initially started to notice that when I would go on the underground, when I go down the stairs just looked a bit funny. Just a little bit funny. I just felt very, very, very slightly unstable. I felt like I needed to concentrate a tiny bit harder than I normally do. It just felt like, oh, if I don't concentrate really hard right now, I really feel like I could fall over. And it was a totally new sensation, one that I've never had. And I kind of noticed that it was there every day, but I really didn't think much of it. I just remember saying at one point to my mum and sister, I was just like, does this ever happen to you? Sometimes you're walking and the stairs just feel like they're a bit further away than usual, and like your legs, you kind of feel like you're on stilts. And they were like, no, you should probably go to the doctor. But again, I didn't think anything of it because it really was not disrupting my life in any way, shape, or form. The other thing I had was tinnitus in my right ear. But yeah, I knew I was stressed. I knew that I was hating the tinnitus. At the time, the tinnitus was the worst thing. The very, very extremely mild vertigo on the stairs was not really a concern. The only time I thought about it was on the moment in the mornings when I was on those stairs, and I would just but nothing more than that. Literally nothing more than that. It caused me no distress, nothing. Fast forward a couple of months, I got into work and something quite stressful happened. And immediately, as I exited this room, I felt, for the first time, proper vertigo. I felt like it was really weird. The sensations in my legs felt really weird. And at this point, it freaked me out. It really freaked me out. So I just thought, fuck it. I'm very stressed and something weird's going on. But I'm happy to think right now it's probably just a stress-induced weird brain moment. And also, to be honest, like maybe I'm imagining it. Who knows? But anyway, so I just said to my boss, I'm not feeling very well. I'm having like weird unsteadiness and I've got tinnitus. I'm gonna go home. And he said, well, you know, if you don't feel well tomorrow, just let us know how you're doing. And I was like, no, I'll be in tomorrow. That was, once again, I just felt like I just need to go home and just sit and be calm and all will be well. And then it just continued and it got worse, and I was finding that the vertigo was more intense. When I turned my head to the left, I was extremely unsteady. It was awful. I couldn't look down, I couldn't, all sorts of things. And just for reference, this video here where I'm sitting relatively still, like I don't feel too bad. However, when I'm watching the video and I can see myself move, it triggers the symptoms. My symptoms are still very easily triggered, so there's a lot of things I can't watch, or don't like to watch, I should say. 5 minutes in, okay. So I think a few days into realizing like what the fuck is going on, and this is like actually not going away, and I was really quite confident it was gonna go, that was when my mental health kind of very quickly plummeted, because I didn't know when to go back to work, what the hell was going on. I had like researched stuff online, gave myself absolute terror, like the fright of life, by Googling it. And the reality, in some senses, sadly, is that my kind of worst fears have sort of been what has kind of happened. But it's not quite that simple. Anyway, so that was that. And I was like, I need to see a GP. I don't know what to do about this. This is so awful. So I went to see an out of hours GP at our local hospital, and my dad was like walking me in, trying to keep me steady. And this out of hours GP was so fucking rude. He was so fucking rude. I told him what I was dealing with, and he went, and I was just like, okay, fine. And his kind of mentality was, you're not having a stroke, so what are you doing here? And to be honest, just to make clear, what I had done was I'd called 111, and they suggested that I go and have an appointment with him. So it was a 10 p.m. appointment. I did not want to be there at 10 p.m. I didn't want to be doing that with my life, but I wanted to get it checked out. And in the very end, he literally said to me, this is an emergency clinic, so you're going to need to leave. And I was like, what is the point of this service then? Why did 111 send me here? So that was the first kind of experience of like, crap. And the point being is that I said to him, these symptoms are making me feel suicidal. They're making me really question everything. He couldn't have cared less. He couldn't have cared less. He the less said about him, the better. So he just seemed like he just hated my guts. And all I can say about people like that is there is no way in hell that they have ever experienced this, because if they had, they would not. They just would not. They would not try it. So that was still quite early on in the thing. Subsequently to that, I had quite a few GP appointments just saying like, I don't know what's going on. I was told it was labyrinthitis. And then not too long after that, I paid to go private to get like a really specialised opinion, because I just wanted to know really what is going on. And she said to me, it sounds like you've got vestibular neuritis. She said it doesn't sound like labyrinthitis. It sounds like vestibular neuritis and vestibular migraines. She kind of said like a lot of that is lifestyle based, like once you've kind of got that on track, you should be fine, like take it easy in terms of like getting yourself back into reality, you'll be golden kind of idea. And I just kind of noticed that it wasn't happening. She hadn't prescribed me any physio, which I thought was a bit strange, because usually for these conditions you're prescribed physio, and then that was it. She prescribed She sent me a letter, but the very unfortunate thing was the letter came a week after the appointment, and I really wanted to read it as quickly as possible to know what to do, to know how to treat it, all this stuff. But it pretty much just said, like, here's some physio exercises. That's it. Like, if you have any further problems, come and see me again. That was kind of it. I'd been doing kind of balance tests and like things like that, none of which I think flagged up any concerns for people. Because I think a lot of people were being like, oh, can you walk in a straight line? Can you And I kind of could. And I would repeatedly leave the doctor's office saying out loud, am I imagining this? What is going on? Like, I'm getting a sense I'm imagining it, but that's obviously not what's happening. I think when you go through the healthcare system, it can be really overwhelming. And it's quite possible, if you're not gaslit by the person talking to you, that you will gaslight yourself into telling yourself you're imagining it, when the matter of fact was she had said, it sounds like vestibular neuritis and vestibular migraines. So she had actually given me diagnosis, but I was like, oh, I still don't understand. I don't know why, I just didn't understand. So the symptoms continued awful. There were moments where I was like, this feels like it's getting worse, I'm confused. I was back at the GP, I told him about the diagnosis, vestibular migraines, vestibular neuritis. He said, oh, well, you know, vestibular neuritis and labyrinthitis are essentially the same thing. But there is a difference. And in a way, I like to be told the thing that it actually is. So, and when I told him about vestibular migraine, he was like, no, like, well, let's not go there yet. Like, why? I'm having migraine symptoms and the consultants told me it's migraines. Like, why would you tell me let's not go there yet? It clearly is. So it's a mindfuck. It's a complete mindfuck. So that happened, and I think go forward a week. I think at this point I was going to the GP every week because my symptoms were feeling like they were becoming more and more debilitating. I was getting more and more depressed. I was becoming more and more, my thoughts were becoming more and more dark. I also couldn't escape the thoughts. I would wake up sadly thinking about, how am I going to die? I need to die. How am I going to die? And I really want to make very, 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 very clear that those were my feelings. Those were my personal feelings. There are so many people out there who have vestibular neuritis who can manage it and who don't go to those dark places, and who maybe don't have health anxiety in the first place and all these things. So just to say, like, those were my experiences, and I'm so sorry if you're going through the same thing, and I really would absolutely hate to imply you should feel like that if you have these symptoms, because absolutely not. If you have these symptoms and you feel able to kind of maintain your sanity and clarity, I'm not gonna lie, I think it's hard, but like, if you can, that is wonderful. And please don't be deterred by the fact that that was my mental response to it. It's not going to be the same for everybody. It's really not going to be the same for everybody. And me, as a massive worrier, as somebody who's really quite pessimistic, I'm still here. I am still here after having some of the hugest breakdowns of my life during this time. Screaming, crying, doing the most. I'm still here. And I still have hope. And I still have my symptoms. And I'm still here with hope. So, eventually I went to a doctor who was really very sweet, and he was much better at dealing with the mental health side. He was less patronising. He really understood that this is a debilitating condition. It can make you feel utterly crap. He was very nice, but once again, he was like, this is one of these things, it can take quite a while to heal. All you can do really is rest and recover. That's it. So once again, I started at this point to think, what am I doing wrong? Why am I not recovering? Why am I occasionally feeling worse? Why some days can I walk and other days I can't walk in a straight line? What is going on? What are these sensations in my head? Why does my brain feel like it's about to explode? Why does it feel like that? Why? I'm going through all these thoughts. Like, is this a brain tumor? Is this a stroke? Is it like, what? Why does my brain feel like it's being pumped up, pumped, inflated, and the pressure is getting so high? What is going on? Is it the medication I'm taking? What is happening? So there was a lot of that going on. I think at this point I was still really depressed, and I saw my incredible friend, my most incredible friend in the world, who is also a doctor. And she was like, it's all going to be okay, you are going to get better, all this stuff, very encouraging, very determined. I didn't have a tumour or nothing like that. She was like, at the end of the day, the doctors it's more than their job's worth to not diagnose you with a tumour if you've got a tumour, or even a sign of a tumour, so like, don't worry. Cool. And she was like, I think we should get another opinion from another ENT consultant who specialises in vertigo and dizziness. So I did. And I kind of, with time, I was like, I'm looking forward to the fact I'm going to get this opinion. I was seeing an osteopath. Like, I was like, okay, this is cool. This is cool. Like, I'm kind of on the right road. And I'd get like the odd day where I felt really hopeful and happy, and I'd go to the gym. When I started going to the gym, I felt pretty shit. Then like about a week later, I was like, ooh, I'm feeling the benefits of exercise, that kind of thing. So much more happy and optimistic. And then I'm realizing that this is incredibly long, sorry, but yeah, so coincidentally, the day that I went to see the ENT consultant who specialised in vertigo, coincidentally, I was feeling, I thought, decent. I was like, I can walk okay. Like, I feel like I can walk okay. My legs don't feel weird. This vertigo doesn't feel as bad. So cool. And I was in quite a good mood. I was suffering from an awful neck ache and the chills. So I was like, okay, something's not right, but like I'm feeling pretty good. Like, it's gonna be a good day. I'm gonna, find out a little bit more. It's all gonna be cool. So I got there thinking like I'm feeling quite well. I told him, I was like, you know what? I'm actually feeling quite good today. He got me to do these balance tests, which were like the ones where your eyes follow a line. He also did one which kind of involved shaking my jaw to see like what my eyes did. And the next one was one where I kind of had to march on the spot with my eyes closed. All of them, I was this close from saying to him, you don't need to do these. I've done them before. It's cool, like, don't even. And I hadn't technically done those ones before. The ones he got me to do were actually ones I hadn't done before, but I had never failed a test. So I was just like, oh, he's gonna think I'm a bloody time waster, da-dee-da-dee-da. Afterwards, he sat me down and he was like, you tested positive for vestibular neuritis in your left ear on all 3 of those tests. And I was kind of gutted because I was like, I thought I was getting better. Oh shit, this is me on a good day. And he said, right now you're having a buffer in your symptoms, but it doesn't mean it's not going to come back and you're probably going to relapse. At which point, my world felt like it crashed around me. I didn't understand what was being said. I didn't understand what this meant for my future. I thought this meant this was me for life, and I was devastated. I didn't understand. When I kind of asked for clarification, he was getting a bit annoyed with me. He was like, I'm going to explain this for the second time. I'm going to explain this for the fourth time because clearly you're not listening. Eventually I cried and I was like, doctor, this has just been so hard. And I guess hearing what I was hearing as really terrible news was breaking my heart into a million gajillion pieces. And I felt so distressed. I went home that day and I cried. The following morning, I had the biggest mental breakdown I've ever had. I was screaming bloody murder because I was so done with it. I was just so done with all of this. At which point, the vestibular migraines, which is also what he said I had, all came back, flooding back, and I feel like shit. And that's basically where I am now. Long story short, this is what he prescribed. And initially, I can't tell you how many times I've had to sit down with a notebook in order to get my head around the recovery process. So the recovery process is now underway, and it's looked like this. The first thing he said was get a hearing test, a proper hearing test, because we need to determine if it's labyrinthitis or vestibular neuritis. If it's labyrinthitis, we'll get you on steroids. It wasn't labyrinthitis. My hearing was okay, which is great, but I was kind of like, oh, I wanted some medication, but fine. So that's that. What I do need to do though is loads and loads and loads and loads and loads of physiotherapy and manage my migraines, which I'm not gonna lie, I'm finding really, really hard. I'm having migraines constantly. I'm never not having a migraine. I'm constantly having a vestibular migraine, which is painful, uncomfortable, and it causes lots of vertigo, so it is really horrible. So, in essence, he recommended magnesium oxide as a kind of preventative measure. Again, I think it's something that takes months to work. I was also told that the physio was going to take 3 to 5 months to work. Again, my heart shattered into pieces because it's already been 2 months. But anyway, I'm slowly coming to terms with it. I'm coming to terms with the idea that this could be long. I don't know how to deal with it, but I'm here. I'm here, and I'm going from moment to moment, 1 minute thinking, this is okay. I know what I'm doing now. I know how to deal with this. To, I don't think there has been a day where I haven't cried because the symptoms are so uncomfortable and I just feel so hopeless. And however, with my treatment plan and with some of the things I've been suggested, I would like to make another video talking in a bit more detail about them, and then maybe even further videos about each of those things. So physio took me ages to figure out how to do it, how long I'll need to do it, how much time each day, and what exercises, because I actually found it really hard to find good exercises online to do. I now have them. I've now condensed them. I've now figured it all out. I've now figured out what I need somebody with me to do, things that I can do indoors, all this stuff. But as uncomfortable and as drunk and as ill as I feel as we speak, I have a plan, an action plan, and hopefully we will get there. And if any of you are experiencing the same thing and you can cut any corners that I had to go through, if you can cut any of those corners, if you can ask any of these questions to your GP. Other thing, honestly, especially if you're a young-ish woman, get someone to go in with you, because I feel like the way that they look down on you, if you're just a woman in there on your own, the way that they talk to you is not always great. But don't get me wrong, I love the NHS. So many of the doctors are lovely. My favourite person in the world is a doctor. They are incredible. They are incredible people. Like, please don't get me wrong. I've just had some really shitty experiences. So take in an advocate, whoever you are, take an advocate in with you, because when you do, you can see the filter that then goes over their mouth. You can see the way that they stop before they think. talk, sorry. They stop and think before they talk. Essential, because I found with me, there's no stopping and thinking that's been going on while I've been in there on my own, and some really quite dreadful things have happened and have been said. Taking an advocate, don't waste time not taking in an advocate. Don't be a martyr, don't be strong, don't grab someone and say, you're coming with me, because you won't have to deal with the disrespect. Sorry that sounds so negative, but I just think that would be my biggest bit of advice for anybody. Just take in an advocate no matter what. Okay, bye-bye everybody.